And we are back. Jessica, this is Dennis. The podcast is called It's a Tough Subject. And there's a term out there that we have to be careful of. It's called pod fading. And we took a break. And if you're a regular listener to the show, you say, hey, where's the next episode? We had a situation. We talk about grief.
Yep.
We talk about our losses. And our loving producer lost his wife 2 weeks ago. So that's why we took a break. And we're still walking through it with them. And it
Yeah.
just, it's no words, no words. Too young, 51, beautiful woman, cancer sucks. We talk about suicide. A death is a death. A loss is a loss. I don't care how you go, as long as you're not walking through that door.
Pain is
Pain is
pain.
pain.
That's right.
Your trauma is your trauma, no matter what it is. And that's why we pod faded. I can't even say it right. Pod faded a little bit, but we're back, Jessica. And
Yep.
it's interesting. We were talking to our producer about stuff, and it brought up a lot of memories about what happens afterwards.
That's right.
Do
That's
you
right.
remember what happened after your pop died?
Oh yes. 100%. I can literally tell you. You know that you don't remember a whole lot, but like long-term memory, like, that happened over the course of a day. But I remember that from the moment I found out, probably the full 24 hours.
And there's an aspect of death that people don't talk about too much. Is like after the casseroles, go stale and all that stuff. There's like a
Yes.
business aspect to it you got to do. I remember with my brother Mark, I was 20, so I have two losses. And then 11 years later, I'm 31. My brother Mark, I wasn't too involved in the funeral, but with my brother Matt, I went to the funeral home with my dad and picked out the casket. And it's weird. I didn't even know that room existed in the funeral home. We went upstairs and there's the boxes. And, you know, I was in it. I was helping my dad. I was an adult at the time. And then you got to close bank accounts, debit cards.
Yeah.
I remember after Mark died, we got mail at the house for Mark. And it just made me cry. I went
Mm.
to the mailbox and it said Mark Gillan on it. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, and I got mad too. Like, don't the people at the American Cancer Society know that he's not here to give a donation? Like, like stuff like that.
Right.
The junk
Right,
mail.
right, right. Or back then, was when we would have the telemarketing was a big
Oh,
thing. And you have somebody call and, like my maiden name was Scholl. So they would ask for Mr. Scholl. And I was just like, I remember that happening and it was like a knife to the heart,
yeah.
you know?
It's the stuff we don't talk about. No, and you're not prepared for it either.
But you know what I remember about that night though, and I don't know for you, Dennis, but we were listening to our producer talk about his experience, and after my dad died, my dad was my first real, brush with death of a close person, and that experience of death, and it's going to sound very strange, and then my grandmother died at 100. I loved her. I was there holding her hand, and it was like a beautiful
Wow,
death,
what a
and I had
parallel.
not experienced, and it was like, so not that sounds weird, but this person had lived their life to the fullest. They were surrounded by people holding their hand, loving them. I know Tim was with his wife, loving her. She was too young. But when I think about my dad's death, I don't, there was no one holding and loving, and it was dark and bad. And that's the whole, like, for the whole after, it was just
And
different,
they
you know?
usually in a suicide situation, usually the person is alone. And it sucks.
Yes,
It just
yes,
sucks. My brother Mark.
yes. Isn't that what you think about? The
Yeah,
thing,
their last moments were by
because
themselves.
yes, yeah, because truly what got me through and what we talked to our producer about, and I know you've talked about it. I remember people when you were talking about what if I remember immediately within the hour to 2 hours, we had a ton of people at our house just being there with us, right? And just bringing food and sitting with us and holding us and It was so I remember this weird particular incident. A friend of mine, because we found out at like 10 o'clock at night. It was dark. It was October. People started coming over at like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night to my house.
Wow.
We stayed up all night, and my friend and her mother came barreling down the road, and a police officer followed them, and he was going to give him a ticket. And he pulls up to our house, and all these people are standing out in the yard, and we're like screaming at this
Yeah.
man, like, get away from here. It was just like this chaotic scene. And but I remember the people being there for us.
Yeah, that poor police officer had no idea what he walked into. He saw a speeding car and said,
Yeah.
"All right, on a country road
At 12
at 12
o'clock at
o'clock at
night.
night." Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
thinking, "All right, this will be good." And then they're going to a house where a guy died. All right, by suicide. And that's the thing. While we're on the topic of suicide, is when somebody dies by suicide, there's a tendency maybe not to go to the house because you don't know what to do.
Yes.
Show the
Yes.
f up. I'm trying not to curse. I don't drink
Yes.
or smoke, but my mouth is bad. Show up.
Be
Be
present.
present. It doesn't matter. Gone is gone. We say this all the time. Get to the house. Bring the casserole and be there.
And do it like 2 weeks after, a month after. Somebody, I was telling you, Dennis, this week I had two people. I had a mother that had lost her daughter
Oof.
a year ago that just wanted to talk. I felt like she just wanted to talk. I don't even know her. She just wanted to talk. We're going to go to lunch. And then I had a friend call me. She had gotten a call from a coworker whose husband had died literally 30 minutes prior by suicide. And she said, "What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" And I said, "But be there. Just be there." And there are going to be things that they're going to need to do over the coming days. My mom, when my dad died, it was suspicious. So my mom was questioned by the police because they found him.
Oh, wow.
And that was
Yeah.
horrible. And then you have to have an autopsy. We had an autopsy, and we're getting dark here, but it's real talk. There are things that people need that literal, maybe shoulder to cry on and hand to hold to get them there.
Wow. And you just reminded me, I am a volunteer for the good folks at the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, and they have a program I think is woefully underutilized. It's called Healing Conversations. And what they do, and I just got a request this week, but I didn't match very well because I lost two siblings. I'll tell you about it. If you lose somebody to suicide, you get a hold of, and it's afsp.org, and I think it's /healing
Mm-hmm.
conversations. You write your local chapter, you get a hold of these folks, and what they'll try to do, all right, in your instance, it was a woman who lost her husband. They'll try to find a woman who lost her husband maybe years ago, who's further down the path, and
Yeah,
match them up. And if it's a sibling in South Carolina, usually I get the call. Say, "Dennis, this person lost a brother, this person lost a sister. Will you call them?" Now, I call, we have a conversation. Sometimes one's enough. I just say, "Hey, you're not alone. Can I help you? The ball's in your court." I've had coffee with people, met them live. I said, and then we had multiple telephone calls. So that program, sometimes you're looking for something to give people. That's a good one. Say, "Hey,
that is
you may want to
good.
try this."
I'm glad you brought that
Yeah,
up.
Healing Conversations. It's woefully underutilized because they wait for the people to make the move. I'd like to be proactive as a way to reach out to people, maybe get with the coroners of South Carolina or of your state and say, "Listen,
It's a
you
great
need to know
idea.
about this service. If anyone dies by suicide, you need to hand them this pamphlet about this service called Healing
That's right.
Conversations." And by the way,
And it might be they need that like, the next day, or it may be they need that 6 months down the road.
yeah, just have it when
The
they're
healing
ready.
process is long. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you may, what is it? The stages of grief. We know that. Like I learned that my first day at school
Kubler
in
Ross.
social work. Yeah, yeah. And now they've changed something I heard. Or they never they're not linear. And they can be cyclical. And so I think that it's people think, well, get you a counselor, you go for a month. And no, these, like, I've been seeing my counselor for 10 years. 10 years. And first of all, I'm proud that I stuck to something
Exactly. You
like
should be
that.
very
But
proud of that.
folks, these things are complex, they take a long time. But you always, I feel like most of the time, you always need somebody. Like you said, even I think our producer was talking about you have to go to the bank. Sometimes, if there are things that you can do as a friend, like, get the help, get the outfit. I remember my friend, we went and bought my grandmother a dress. She looked the best she's ever looked in a dress that was bright and beautiful. And they're like, why are you buying her a new dress? I was like, she deserves to have a new dress. But somebody went with me and helped me pick that out. And it was fantastic, you know?
Wow, you're bringing back so many memories about the aftermath because my brother Mark was open casket. We could see him. My brother Matt was not. It was a firearm. 54% of all suicides with a firearm. It was a firearm, so that we did not see him. And we had to go after the funeral. We had to go down and clean out his apartment. Well, thank God somebody got there.
That's where you need some
That's where he
help.
died. And with a firearm, so you can
Right.
imagine there's a little bit of a mess. And thank God
Oh,
somebody preemptively went down there before us, friends that were down there, and cleaned up the place a little bit.
those are good
Exactly.
friends.
Before the
Good
family got there.
friends.
And holy
Yeah.
crap, that was so sad. It was there was an answer machine I gave him. It was mine, and I gave it to him because we got a new one or whatever. When I got married, I got another one from the wife. I was like, all right, you can have my answer machine. And then I had to pick it up, and there it was. And all the messages were me on there calling Matthew, pick up the phone because I couldn't believe he died. Oh, the aftermath. Right then and there. Boy, you need people in your life, friend. Do not isolate
Yeah.
and tell people you're hurting. Tell them what you're going through.
And for people that want to be there too, I hate to do this, but here's what not to do.
Oh, oh boy. Oh boy.
I remember, we're so honest on this show, and that's why I love it. And I hope
So
people
raw.
are like inspired just to talk about things because it does help. Because when you keep things inside, it festers. I hate that word, fester. But I remember people saying things like, "Oh, how could he do this? So selfish." Um, I heard that recently this week. I had the lady that called me about her daughter. She called her friend of 15 years and said, "This is how my daughter died. I need help." And she never spoke to her again.
Man, you are
50,
testing my no curse policy right now. I'm ready to pop
yeah.
off.
Oh, I was so angry
Mm.
when she told me that. I said, what? I got so mad. Or then my mother, y'all, I'll be honest with you, my dad, I've talked about him. He struggled so badly his whole life with mental illness. And when you have that issue and substance use issues, things happen in your
Yeah.
world. And my dad wasn't always faithful to my mom. And a friend 2 days later thought it was a good idea to tell my mother that he had been inappropriate with her. Why would you do that? Don't do things like this, folks. Keep things to yourself. When I say be there and be present, that means keep that shut unless it needs to be used,
Wow.
right? In a positive way. God, can I tell you about how painful that was for my mom and my family?
Dear, that's one of those things you have to say. You say it in your head first, and you say, "What good would come from this?" If the answer is no
Yeah,
good,
a
you
hundred
just
percent.
swallow it and you take it to your grave.
I actually thought about that just now. Should I say this? But I'm like, yeah, we got to be real for folks that think, this person's selfish. Let me tell you what he did. And people would do
Yeah.
that.
A
Don't
friend
do
of mine,
that.
it's funny
Don't
you say
do
that because
that.
when Mark died, a friend of mine, he meant no harm.
Right.
He told me, he goes, "Yeah, dude, I used to drop acid with your brother." I'm like, I don't really need to hear that. I know he took some journeys. I know he went on some trips. It might have warped his thinking. He was young. It might have not helped things if you're dealing with the mental health. You talked about mental health and the substance use. They usually run together as a coping
Yeah.
mechanism. Substance use disorder, they try to make the pain go away and self-medicate. I'm guilty of that with alcohol.
It's like a chicken before the egg, too. Sometimes you get into this accidentally and then it really takes a toll on your mental well-being or you're self-medicating. I mean, it's funny in our state when we talk about payment for services, going to go on that for a minute. They separate those. It's a very bizarre. I'm not going to bore folks with the complexities because I work in this, so I have a little bit of a background and understanding of it. But I'm like, why are we sending folks one place to get care and then expecting them to go another if they have SUD? And quite frankly, that's pretty much what happened to my dad. It's people are in a vulnerable situation. They need to be able to access care for everything at one time.
One-stop shopping because it's
Gonna put that out
mental health.
there.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're getting better with that now. Behavioral health. They address all,
Yes,
you get the Jiffy Lube 17-point
absolutely.
service. What's going on? I got a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, the after.
I don't think it's going to go
You
away.
get,
We got to do things like this. We got to talk.
when you picked the subject today, the aftermath, and I started thinking about it, it really hit a nerve because it brought back maybe our memories are selective. You just remember the good stuff. You try to forget some of
Yeah.
the nuts and bolts of like a death. You know, going
Yes.
home, entertaining people, and you got to sit there, and people are showing up, and you got to be nice, but you don't feel like talking.
Oh, absolutely. People, well, think about a funeral line. Why do we do those? I don't want to stand in
You pay
line.
respects.
We were talking about traditional funerals. Let me go ahead and put this out to you guys. If something happens, I want to have a party. I know people say that. I literally mean it. I'm a Christian. Definitely want to have that peace, but I want you to celebrate a life well lived because I have lived a good life.
It's funny you say that because
How about you,
we always say
Dennis?
that at a funeral, like we always say there's a line I always say to. I'm sorry we have to meet under these conditions. Why don't we meet for like a sand volleyball game or something? Like we all get together for a funeral, but we don't get together for like we
Yeah.
little things like a barbecue. Like maybe post COVID, it's hard to get people together again, but maybe we need to start celebrating life while we're still
People, we
alive.
need
Yeah.
people. We need people too. We need that social interaction. If you look at a lot of folks that I know that are miserable and angry, they're isolated, and they don't. They're just they're not interacting well. And I really worry for our generation. We talk about the youth mental health statistics and suicide. However, I know, Dennis, that it's starting to creep up for folks of our age and older more so. It's on the growth. It's in growth mode, but young people definitely. I'm worried for them because they don't know how to talk to people, and what are they gonna? Who's gonna be there for that generation when they have a loss and they need folks to support them and they don't know how.
There's a connectivity piece. I'm hopeful for this generation because they connect in different ways. Maybe not our ways,
Yes.
but they do.
Hey, can I text you
Yeah,
and can we have our grief counseling that way? I mean, maybe that's okay with them. I don't know. I like to see a person,
there are
but
folks out there in the
sometimes.
gaming community that have never met, and they could be like best friends. They know a lot of intimate details about the person
Yeah,
because they're out there 3 or 4 hours a night playing games. So there's a
it's
maybe
very
we're showing
true.
our
Very
age.
true. I'm
There's a
old.
different mode of it, but the kids 15 to 24, they have a reduction in suicides. The 44, 45 and higher had an increase. So there's an age thing. Our age didn't talk about it. So it's time to stop that. It's time to talk about it. I think the younger generations, boy, they talk about mental health all the time. We always could do a better job.
We can. I think I blame my generation kind of. We're like on the cusp, the Gen Xers. We're like the end of the boomers, sandwiched between them and the millennials, and we're a small group of folks. But I think we changed things a little bit. I'm not sure if it was. I don't know. I'm starting to look at the result of the people that I know and the children that they have and the things that are going on. I'm like, somehow we played in this role, and I'm not sure. But every generation blames the one before, right?
Absolutely. Just part of the aging process. Oh, these kids are screwed. And then I go on college campuses. I meet these wonderful kids. Like, yeah, we're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine. They have the
Yeah,
same issues
yeah,
we have.
yeah.
Their parents are idiots. Yeah, that's what my kids said about me. Back to the aftermath. Back
Oh,
to the aftermath.
yes, yes.
No, no, no,
Sorry.
no, no.
We go down the
No,
rabbit
no.
hole.
It's you brought up like a really. There's like so many memories flooding into my head. My brother Mark died in a vehicle that was in our driveway, and it stayed there for a while. And one of the windows was broken, and we had a tarp over it. And it was a
Hmm.
white Corvette. And I think I may have told you the story. My dad sold it to a friend and it got stolen. And it was
Yeah.
perfect. And then,
Yes. I was about to say, didn't that get, that's, and we talked about this because my dad died in his car too. I haven't said this, and folks, we don't want to talk about gory details, but my dad overdosed, and us and my mother found him there, and they brought the car back and sat in my driveway for
mm,
like a week. And I was like, please, please get
you
that
know it.
out of I couldn't stand
You
it.
know it.
It killed me. I didn't want to walk outside, Dennis.
No,
All these weird things have, but on a positive note, when did you, just out of curiosity for the aftermath and thinking about things that happened and people that were there that I still remember and thank, by the way, when did you start to see a little bit of light, like that pinhole in your life of light, of a little bit of happiness after that?
wow. I got a major league distraction after Matthew died, and you're going to make me cry. Right in the midst of the grief, we were struggling with infertility. And in the midst of all that bull crap, we found out we're pregnant. We literally went back to my parents' house where the car still was in the driveway. Like back, we're still, no, this is bad. So the car's gone. So we went back to the house, and we were there a month earlier for the funeral, maybe 2 months. And we went back to the house, which I hated going home. I just hated going home. It's weird. I grew up in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm going back in 2 weeks. They say people don't go home. You go back to your boyhood town, not for the town, but for my boyhood. Like that's what I'm going back for. And it's bitter.
Yeah.
So we go back to my parents' house, and then we gave them these coffee mugs that said "World's Best Grandmother, World's Best Grandfather." And we got to watch them open it literally 2 months after they buried their son. So
Yeah.
that was a moment. But there's also a moment like years later, I held on to some stuff. And one of the things that was a weird one for Matt, I had his weight bench, and he had a curling bar that comes with it. It's a weight, it's a bar that's shaped so you can do curls. And obviously, I don't use it. You can see my arms. But I kept thinking about it. He had put tape on it, athletic tape on it, and I'm thinking there I would use it and go, Matthew sweated on this thing. Like Matt's sweat is in this tape.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, oh man. So finally, it was years later, after my divorce, I had all this stuff in the garage, and there's the weight bench in the bar. And it had all these moving stickers on it, because every time I moved that thing. And I ended up selling it. I sold it on Facebook Marketplace probably 25 years after Matt died, and said some kid needs to work out on this thing, but he doesn't need to know the story. I didn't tell him, hey, that's my dead brother's weight bench. Good luck. I just said, hey, good
Yeah.
luck. And sold it to a kid. And it was weird when they pulled out of the driveway. I was thinking about all that time I moved that thing and all the times I sat on it thinking about Matt. It's gone. And it was a little bit of relief, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. That was closure.
Yeah. It was a sign of that there was some healing going on. Because before, my ex-wife would say, we need to get rid of that thing. And I'd be like, don't you ever talk about the weight bench again. It's off limits. And I would get like that aggravated that quick. It was, I go 0 to 60, like the weight bench never comes out of your mouth again. Now I wonder why she got a divorce. The weight bench. That damn weight bench.
Hey. Yeah, but I mean, it's you're hanging on to anything you can, really, you're sitting here saying that, and I'm thinking, well, we know about the picture. You've heard the story about the picture in my house. That's it,
Yeah,
though.
that's enough.
Because I mean, I don't really, and then my friend had a picture of him painted for me that gave me recently, and I have it in my house. At first I was kind of creeped out, like it's of his face, like it's a picture that she had.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's in, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to put this, it was very bizarre, very bizarre. But this was a person that was there that night. She was actually the person that her mother and her were pulled over. And she was my best friend then. She loved my dad. She called him Dad Jim. So,
Yeah.
she didn't have a father. He was a father figure to
Whoa.
her. And she had this painted for me, and I felt like I need to hang this in my house, and it hasn't bothered me since
No.
then, except for the time that my dog was staring at it barking. Now, I'm going to be
That
honest
would
with
freak
you.
me out.
It freaked me out. But, it is what it is. But,
Were the
I
eyes
get to
moving?
see
Were
his
the eyes
face.
moving like in every movie,
No, no, no,
going back and forth?
like in the Don Knotts movie. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
The,
Uh,
mo-
I don't know what it was called.
oh
Yes,
no no no.
no, no. See, there comes a time in your life when you can laugh about things that people may think are inappropriate, but hey, we got to be
If I don't laugh, I cry. I cry.
a little nutty. Yeah, we got to be like
The
that sometimes,
the
right?
aftermath is a tough subject. It's really, back to the podcast name. It's a tough subject. This stuff is brutal because it immediately takes you back in time. You think about that. We
Oh
truly
God,
put it
yeah.
in a box and put it in the back of our mind. We have those memories, but we don't access them out of self-preservation. I don't want to talk about.
Sometimes I like to. My friend the other day, when I was telling her, so I was going to the gym, I said, I'm going to be late twice this week. I've been on the phone with someone who's just dealing with something. I need to stay on. And she goes, how do you do that? Isn't that depressing? And I'm like, um, for most people, yeah, but I have been able to somehow, it's not about me. It's what I dealt with and what I was put here to do. And so I just, I mean, I'm not desensitized to it, but I just have learned how to manage it and do what's right for other people.
Well,
What about
I'm
you?
with you. Some people say that all the time, like Dennis, how you holding up? And it's crazy what you do. It's how do you stand it? You deal with this stuff day in day out, and I've come to just accept it's my lot in life, and it's the way we can
That's
help, and
right.
our miseries become our mission. And I'm doing fine. I have so many protective factors. It's not even funny because you're
Yeah.
very conscious of it. And today, by the way, is going to be the longest day ever because I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and I'm not taking my computer. I'm not taking it.
Yes, I just booked my tickets to Reno this week.
Nice, nice. I
Vacation, take the vacation, folks, even if it's just a day sitting in your yard, laying on your couch. Self
somebody.
preservation. That's
It's
how you
weird. I
do it.
did a mass mailer this week to my email list, and if you want to get on it, Dennis at halfasar.org. I did a mass mailer. I sent out 3 mental health stories and one really good story. So there's like a couple. Stay informed, and here's a good happy story. And
Yeah.
this woman had an auto reply on it, and I'm gonna steal this auto reply. She said, "I'm not in the office. I'm taking time to be with my family. Let this be a reminder to you that you should cherish the time with your family." And I'm like, damn, right before my vacation, I'm stealing that. That's part of your protective factor. I got to word it a little.
And don't worry about, and if I don't really see, I mean, I will be honest, where I work, it's encouraged. Nobody gives, I mean, we want people to, it's not like, I've worked places where you got 1 week a year, and some of our listeners may get that. That is not enough, in my opinion. And so if that should be something that people look at when they're looking at jobs. Make sure that you're getting enough time to decompress. You don't have to have dealt with things like Dennis and I have. Just life is tough, man. You
It's,
know?
it's funny you say that because I was thinking about when you like if I go on, if I go, I'm going away for a week. It's like a standard American take a week off, and I'll run into someone from like Europe somewhere, and they're like, "Oh, I'm on a 3 week holiday." Like 3 weeks, they got it right. They give them like 5 weeks to start. That's like you start a job and you have 5 weeks off,
Oh
and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, well I'm taking June off." I'm like, "Damn it, they figured it out." We have to go get back to work. I have to check emails.
Okay, I'm a weirdo. I would get freaked out. I'm a routine person. I love my
Oh,
vacation, but I like to get back into my
you've been
routine.
Americanized.
Crazy.
You've been
I know.
Americanized.
I know. I hate it. I know. I need to fix this.
Work, work, work. Always access. Check the phone. I am not bringing the laptop. I'm guaranteeing. And the other, just last night, talking about distractions and trying to deal with life. My phone died, and we went out to dinner. I was the happiest.
Were you in panic
No,
mode? Oh, my see, I wish I
I
was
was
like
so
you.
happy. I looked down and I looked at my wife and said, "My phone died. Isn't that awesome?" I charge it when I get back. We're out for an hour and a half.
We always say, like, we're with the two most important people in our lives right now. So, I mean,
Oh,
if I'm with my husband, I'm like,
we're
we're
good.
good. But I would freak out. I'm addicted to screens. I know this. I'm scared. I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to figure this thing out.
It's hard.
I don't want to do it anymore. I think it's really hurting my mental health. I want to breathe more fresh air and get the blood pumping more. You know, I'm an avid exerciser, but man, I'll tell you what, screens and screen time and all this jargon, it's real. It's not good.
No, no, I'm bragging about my phone dying. I needed it to die because if I showed you my screen time, I'd be embarrassed by the hours. If I took half those hours and
I've
used that curl bar, I'd have really good biceps. Which I don't have. There you got better. There you
got it.
got them. You work out.
Yeah, I do. That's my. But yeah, again, the
Oof.
aftermath. It's here we are, years and years. Me, what, like now 33 years. You around the same time. We're still talking about it. We're still working on it. Aftermath is it's. I don't know about you, but for me, my life is before my dad died, after my dad
Yeah,
died.
that's a
You know,
definitive
and
line.
it's like two, and it'll always be. So, folks, it's a work in progress, but there is hope.
Yeah, and you get through it. Believe it or not, it's they say don't make any major decisions a year after a trauma. And I agree with that. Just get out of bed, put your feet on the ground, whenever that is. Take a shower,
Yes, yes,
maybe
yes.
make the bed if you're feeling up to it, and then you did one thing for the day, and you're fine. Because when you come back at night, the bed's made. You're like, hey, I did one thing today. There was actually a speech.
And call a
Call a
friend.
friend.
Ask them to go to coffee. Ask them to go to lunch. Ask them to go for a
And
walk.
that's the funny thing about the aftermath is you think you're alone, and you're sitting there and
That's
you're
right.
holding a sweatshirt of somebody you love, and you won't wash it because this smells like them. There are millions of people who do that.
Yes.
There are millions of people who hold on to stuff and say, "I am never washing this because this smells like my boy." And we
I
get it,
mean, I agree. Yes, it's human.
absolutely.
Nothing to be ashamed
No,
of.
no, no. So get through the aftermath. It's
And I have to tell you something about that that's kind of cool. You know, there's all kind of really unique things you can do for people. My friend takes shirts, so you don't want to wash that shirt. She makes bears out of the shirts of people that folks have lost, and they put them in the room, and I mean, it's like a memorial bear. Um, and it's really awesome. And she does these for people. She works with a friend of mine who owns a funeral home, and they make these memory bears,
whoa.
and that's the sweetest thing. So there's all kind of unique things that you can do to help people, be there for them, do things to honor their loved one that they lost for them. It's so
To show
powerful.
up. I would hand
Yeah,
that bear off. Say, listen, if your grief is too much to bear, and then run,
there you
with it.
went.
Run with it. I'm an idea guy. Run with it. Well, let's bring it home. I think we did our 34 minutes according to it, and we promised folks about 30 minutes a pop because it is a tough subject. I can't go longer. I can't do it. Especially
Ooh.
this one. You
No.
picked the aftermath, and you got me crying on this one. This is a tough. This is this.
Dennis, I had a tough week. I had two people reaching out to me. You know, we say this all the time. People reach out to us. We exude that, people that are approachable that have experienced
Well, what
something.
I think we exude is the vulnerability that comes with being human. And when you're
Yeah.
vulnerable, other people feel it's safe to be vulnerable. And I'm telling you all, it is safe to be vulnerable because nobody gets out of this thing, alive. And life isn't Skittles and unicorns. We know that. And you're not alone. You're literally not
No,
alone. Every problem you think you have and you think it's unique to you, somebody's been down that path before.
that's
And if
right.
we can help you in the suicide aftermath, let us know. The grief aftermath, let us know. Go to halfasour.org if you want any of our services, safety plans, you name it, speaking engagements, whatever else. Camel Hat Club merch. Oh, I got merch, by the way. Now I got merch. The good folks at Richardson, that's a Trucker Hat 112. We don't skip around, and that's Mossy Oak. Where's that little tag? There it is. Mossy Oak Camo. Look at us. We had our meeting this week. A bunch of men get.
All about the
It's all about
labels.
it. That's a good hat. Richardson's a good hat, and then Mossy Oak is a good camo if you know anything. But men tend to camouflage their emotions. That's why we have that club. So there's a lot of stuff we're doing out there. Come on, everything ties together. Marketing.
I never heard that, but I'm
Yeah,
impressed. I'm
it
impressed.
is. What's
I'll be
under the
honest
hat,
with you.
man? What's under the hat?
Yeah.
That's what matters the most, your mind. So, folks, that's another episode. Jessica, I appreciate it. You picked a tough one today, Aftermath, and I had to blow my
Sorry.
nose like 3 times. So,
We got to talk about a tough subject, and
thus the name
happens.
of our podcast. So, it's a tough subject. Thanks for listening, folks, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully, we don't do any pod fading. We're back in our groove. Say a prayer for our producer, Tim, as he walks this walk, and he's not alone.
And enjoy that vacation.
Enjoy the vacation. Exactly. Surf's
Enjoy,
up.
enjoy that
Hope my
time.
phone
Yep.
dies the whole week. And off we go.
I'll text you every
Don't you
day.
dare. Don't you dare. All right. Peace out, folks. Thanks for joining us. It's a tough subject.